Can you believe it is already the end of October? Like, we only have 2 months before 2025 comes to a close. I don't know where this year's been gone, but it has flown by super fast. So after getting back from Uganda and spending some time praying and collaborating with our leaders here, our leaders there, it was a great trip. Our kids are doing good. The kids are improving in their scores continually. They're doing amazing. The sewing ladies, they're doing amazing. It's like everything we've done and given them, they are surpassing our expectations, and we're just like, it's a miracle. I mean, what God is doing down there is a miracle. It's so fun to see the kids' lives changing and the teachers' lives changing, and it's been a joy, and I just cannot thank you enough for believing in us and helping us to get where we're at today. So we are ready to launch our year-end project for 2025. And I will tell you, it's a big one. It is our most aggressive year-end project yet. It's our most aggressive goals, our biggest project that we've ever done. But I'm utterly convinced that this is the next step that Sunbeams needs to take in order to be everything we are being called to be. And so what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to build 2 dorms, a boys' dorm and a girls' dorm. And each dorm will hold 94 kids. So 94 girls and 94 boys. That'll be 188 children that will be boarding at Sunbeams. And why is this important? Well, it's important for 3 reasons. Sustainability is number 1, safety number 2, and success number 3. So let's start with sustainability. It costs us about $4,500 a month for the operating expenses of the school. Now, that's a lot of money, but when you think of what we get for that money, we have 17 salaries that we pay. We have 426 kids that we feed. All of them get breakfast, and then the primary kids and the teachers, which is over half of them, get lunch as well. And then we have our normal supplies. You have books and exams and papers, things that cost to run a school. And so it's a $4,500 a month that it costs. We send over from the United States $3,000 a month. They are covering $1,500 a month, and we need to close that gap. We need to close that $3,000 gap so that we're not sending them money for operating expenses, because the goal is for them to be able to handle and run the school on their own without depending on us from the United States for donations to run their operating expenses. Yes, we want to be able to help build them buildings. Yes, we want to be able to collaborate and bring in great innovation and ideas and technology and leadership development and whole person development and all of that. Yes, we want to do. Yes, we want to do that. But what we don't want is we don't want to create a system where they are depending on us for their operating expenses. If something were to happen and we were to step back, or something were to happen with us, or this school needs to outlive me, needs to outlive our board, it needs to outlive you, it needs to keep going. And we want to set them up for success, because that's true success when you can be able to sustain yourself. It's just like trying to launch a child, right? We grow them up, we nurture them, we care for them, but at some point they got to be able to pay for themselves. And that's where we're wanting to get this school at right now. So when we originally opened the school, we had only, we were looking towards the village, a remote village that didn't even have water 4 years ago that was clean. So we made our school fees low. They pay $34 for a primary student for every term. It's like $27 for nursery, $34 for primary. And that's low. Those fees are low intentionally because we want to set them up to succeed. And so the cost of education surpasses the cost of what they can afford to pay. And we knew that going in, but we knew we were going to try to implement some sustainability tactics in order for them to be able to be self-sustaining. Dorms is a huge one to do that, and let me explain to you how that happens. So we have 94 girls, 94 boys, 188 students. About 100 of those students would come from within Sunbeams itself. We have kids that are coming to our school that would like to be able to board, but we don't offer it at this point. But when we do, they would like to board. So they would be coming. And then we've had people from the outside communities in town, in distant, more established villages, that have reached out to us and would like to send children to our school, but we don't have boarding. And as we get further and further out, obviously transportation becomes an issue. So boarding becomes important. So for a student to board, we would be setting our fees at $117 a term. That's the going rate for there. So that's a doable rate for them. That's not off the charts. There are some schools that would be charging more. There's also schools that may be charging a little bit less, but this is really a good price for them to get boarding, and it's very doable. So they will be paying up front to board in our school. So if you've got 188 kids times $117 a term, it's close to $22,000 a term that we would be bringing in revenue. Now we are sending over to Uganda $12,000 every term. So $12,000 from the 22 leaves us $10,000 to be able to cover expenses like extra staff that we will need, extra security that we will need, extra food that we will need, extra teacher stipends for the weekends so we can offer some programs on the weekends for tutoring and things like that, entertainment. So that leaves us $10,000 for that. And from a very conservative look at the numbers, we should still be able to profit between $1,500 and $2,000 every term. So the school will be self-sustaining, and they'll have a little bit of money to do some extracurricular things that they may want to do. So that is our number one reason for wanting to get these dorms built is, we're sending over $36,000 a year to help pay for this school to run. So if we can get these dorms up, that we don't have to be sending that money over. And then we, as a United States side, Sunbeams Uganda on the United States side, we can be doing some really cool things to try to infuse them with other libraries, computer labs. Maybe we're looking at possibly doing a medical clinic down the road. There's other things we can focus on to bring into this village, but really this is the next thing that we have got to do in order for us to be able to have this school self-sustained. And from there, anything we do is just an extra bonus. So with that said, the second reason why we want to be able to offer dorms or boarding, however you want to look at it, is safety. As we are drawing kids from further and further away, that's great. We love that, but it creates a safety risk, right? Because we've got kids walking long roads again. This is why we built the school in the village, was so that we would have kids not having to walk 2 miles to school. Well, now people love what we're doing and they love what's happening at Sunbeam. So now we've got kids walking that far, and travel's just not safe. You got boda riders, which are little motorcycles that these kids are riding on, not always safe. Girls are always, they're always at risk for being raped. So the travel is not ideal. We don't have transportation, we don't have buses, things like that. So safety is another key factor. We will keep the kids, they will stay with us the entire term. They will go home on break and they will go home for holidays, but they will stay with us for the term, and we will be able to keep them safe. Some of the kids, this is going to be a better environment for them. The third reason is success. So how our kids will even be greater levels of success than what they've already been achieving, because there will be other kids coming in from other areas that have been educated and have been in a good school system longer than our kids have been. And it's iron sharpening iron. Another thing is that we will be able to have the kids with us all the time, and we'll be able to infuse Christian values even after school, on the weekends. They're going to learn how to have clean entertainment. They're going to learn how to have good sanitation practices. They're going to learn how to live in community and build healthy relationships with one another. They're going to learn how to do laundry properly. These are things, life skills that we can teach them, and discipleship that we can teach them because we have more time with them. So it will set them up to success, because one of our core values is whole person development. And we are passionate about making sure that our kids not only just, get to go to school and get a good education, but we want them to know Jesus. We want them to know how to study their Bibles. We want them to know how to have healthy relationships. We want them to set them up for success. And so those are the three reasons that we want to build these dorms. So sustainability, safety, and success. So each dorm costs $40,000 to build, and that is fully furnished. That includes toilets, it includes showers, it includes bedding, mattress, sheets, comforters, it includes everything. So that's what we're looking at, $40,000 for the boys' dorm, $40,000 for the girls' dorm. And we need to get these buildings going as soon as possible, because honestly, the term starts in February. And if we can avoid not having to not board for another year, that would be amazing. And so I'm just asking that you would pray how God would lead you to be able to partner with us, and how you would like to come alongside us. We are going to need all hands on deck. This is like everybody gets to be involved in really making a phenomenal impact on the lives of these kids. And you are investing in children. You're not investing in buildings. So let me just end with a final story because I could keep talking about this forever. But when I went this last time, Westwa, there's many stories like this, but this little guy stole my heart the first time we went to the village. He was the first little guy I met in the village. He followed me everywhere, but the kid was a stinker. He got in fights. His grades were poor. He would not, oftentimes, he was going to a poor school, a very poorly run school about 2 miles away, and he got lost on the way home. I mean, he got in fights. His life was headed down a wrong trajectory. And I remember when we opened the school, you could see he was kind of proud to put on this Sunbeams uniform, because we do have really cool looking uniforms. And we've seen some changes with Westwell. I remember being like, buddy, we need you to be a mighty man of God. Like, this village needs you to be a leader. And so I would go and I would see him. He'd be, all of a sudden, he was going to church. Then when I went there last year, I got to baptize him, which was a total honor. And then this last time I went, they told me that he had gone from, when he started, he was getting poor grades and his effort was poor, right? When I went there this time, he had finished number 1 in his class of 50. Number 1. Actually, there's 58 kids in that class. He graduated. He finished this last term at the top of his class. I was so proud of him. So I bought him a backpack and told him how proud I was of him. And when I was observing the classes, I noticed Westwa never took his backpack off. He wore that backpack to school, from school, and while he was sitting in the desk, he never took it off. It was adorable. And these are the kind of stories, like, when you believe in someone, when you hope in someone, these kids don't get opportunities like this every day. So they're taking it and they're running with it and they're doing amazing. And we've got lots of Westwa stories, and we would love to have another 188 Westwa stories. It's amazing what happens when you believe in someone, when you love someone, and when you come alongside someone. They will rise and shine, and we are seeing that. And so I'm just asking you to please pray. I know that this is an aggressive goal. I know that this is a big undertaking, but I do believe we can do it. And so I'm asking for you to pray and ask God, how does he want you to be a part of what we're doing? And what can you contribute to help us meet that goal of 2 dorms, 40,000 for the girls, 40,000 for the boys. When we reach the first 40,000, we'll go ahead and build the girls' dorm first if we can't build them both together. Ideally, we'd like to build them both together. But I can assure you that 100% of what you donate goes directly into Sunbeams Uganda. My trips, I pay for on my own. All of the administrative expenses are covered. So 100% of what you give goes right to the village and goes right to this project. So I hope that you'll consider helping us and being a part of what we're doing, because lives are changing and it is super fun to see. So thank you again. Thank you for listening this long. Love you guys. So thankful for everything you are doing. We could not be where we're at without you. And just join us on this journey of being able to really encourage, equip, and empower, and see all these kids and women and men rise and shine.